Hi, you're listening to fantasyfootballtips.co, the podcast. We are back. It's 2016/17. Oh my goodness, FPL has launched, and I'm joined in the studio by JP.
Good evening, Mills. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be back.
It is great to have you back. I feel like last season we bonded like never before.
Yes, in more ways than one.
It's fantastic. I mean, we'll get onto that maybe in podcast extra later on.
Yeah.
And I'm really pleased to announce a new addition to the team. There was a lot of and ahhing over the late great Quigliano, but we're joined by a man that goes by numerous guises, but we're going to call him Cliff.
Good afternoon, Mills. Good afternoon, JP.
How are you? How does this feel? I feel you had a nervous wee before you came on the podcast.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous before I joined the podcast team, but I've done a little bit of research today and I'm just pleased to be here.
I mean, he has printed out several pages, so it's nice to see he's put the effort in there. And you know, we've got to get this elephant in the room out there, haven't we? Because the tweets have been flying in. Good old Blue Paddle Pops.
What a legend.
Blue Paddle Pops, hashtag Quigliar yes or no. Well, we can answer that question now. Is it a Quigliar yes or a Quigliar no?
Quigliano's in the room.
This is the best day of my life.
Well, you talked about the elephant in the room, and an elephant never forgets. And last season was a betrayal beyond betrayals. Jesus rang me up and said, that's worse than when Judas betrayed me. So that's the level that Mills went to. Reparations have been made. There's people in life that you bring in close, you keep them close, confide in them, trust them, and when they betray you, it hurts even more. Okay, there's no enemy worse than a friend. Bear that in mind.
Okay.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's very deep.
So there you go, mate. Yeah, I am back. Probably in spite of Mills. Really for the fans. For the fans more than anything. They need me.
Well, we mentioned that. That was important, yeah. You know, it's all about the fans. Quigliano.
It's good to be back, and you know, new addition to the team with Cliff. What are your thoughts on that, Quigliano?
Well, you mentioned he's nervous. Is he going to take that accent off? That stupid radio voice. Do your normal one.
That is my normal voice.
Oh.
Sorry for that.
Why are you shaking?
I'm not shaking, JP, trying to stitch you up there.
Mate, he looks nervous, and a scared kitten.
He's a different being. Put him in this studio.
I've heard JP has been slaughtering you on the banter.
JP is bitter because when we played a round of golf, JP couldn't handle the pressure on the golf course, so tried to stitch me up saying I'm a member at a golf course and I play a lot more than JP, which is true, but
Okay, but coming back to fantasy football, this we don't talk about golf. So what credentials do you bring to this team? I mean, this is a heavyweight team that you're joining here.
Yeah, I agree. I've just won the Euro Fantasy Football League by a long margin over Quigliano.
Amateur with phones going off on the table. I mean, let's cut him out there. Who won the Premier League, boys? Who won that mini league that means so much to you?
That would be Quigliano.
Thank you. That's back-to-back league titles.
That is impressive.
I mean, I'm still having nightmares from that last game of the season. The good old bomb scare that was at Old Trafford that meant the Man United game was played late, obviously on the Monday. For those of you that don't know, it's quite notorious that I never win a Manager of the Month. I've never won a Manager of the Month.
What is a Manager of the Month?
Who knows what a Manager of the Month is, because I don't know what it is.
Mate.
Oh, okay, so in our mini league we go from month to month, don't we? And the format resets each month. Whoever gets the most points at the end of that month obviously takes the prize, which is a monetary prize in our little league that we play.
Obviously, yeah.
Never won as Mills, and was on for a nice big win at the end of the last season with that until Chris Smalling scored an own goal with literally the last kick of the Premier League.
I mean, that is why I'm driving around a very high-profile German automobile. You've probably seen them. I won't name them because of any sponsorship deals maybe that might affect. But that's important to realise when we're looking at overall rank, that we don't invest as much in that, do we? We try and play our mini league. So we take into consideration both things. When we tip in, it's what we think is going to help your rank. But our own leagues, if anyone ever went, oh, at Quigliano, you've not won that overall thing, be like, I'm playing a mini league here, people. Wake up. Yeah?
Yeah, I think also with that is it does add a lot of excitement during the season because every player can still win something. You know, you could be rock bottom like a Millsy, struggling week in, week out.
harsh.
But it's a little harsh, I apologise, but partly true. You could be struggling week in, week out, yet still win 2 Manager of the Months at the end of the season. You might only finish 8th in the league, but you've won 2 Manager of the Month. So I recommend it to anyone that's doing it. Don't just do it on, the overall. Go on the months. Good fun.
Okay, so I mean, we are literally wilting in the studio here in 30 plus degrees of heat. But I'm going to come back to Cliff and put you back on the hot seat. I want to know,
literally the hot seat.
Literally the hot seat. You've won €1. What is that? Does that qualify you to join an award-winning podcast such as this? In fact, the #1 Fantasy Premier League podcast, according to Google.
Wow.
Well,
is that why you're so nervous?
I think it is because
You got
I'm
very
in
pale.
the same,
You've not relaxed at all.
not relaxed at all. I'm in the same room as the great Quigliano, who I
Yeah.
am told every day that has won 2 back-to-backs,
Won a World Cup.
won a World Cup.
Who stitched you up and said you had to wear a suit?
Mills Mills stitched me up
I
there.
didn't say it was casual Tuesday.
Right, let's talk business then, gents. The Fantasy Premier League, Twitter's been going crazy waiting for the launch of the new website. It looks really nice. I've had a bit of a dabble today.
What about the game?
Cliff's had a little bit of a play as well, I believe. Do you want to comment on that
No,
one?
let's
No,
carry on.
okay.
That was a setup.
That was a
Too easy.
setup. So, Cliff, I'm going to come to you first of all, because I'm going to come to JP and Quigliano in a second. But first thoughts on the new format. Have you tried to create a team yet?
I did try unsuccessfully to create a team.
What went wrong?
Spent a lot too much money in the strike force. Aguero is 13 million.
That's standard, isn't it?
Standard, mate.
That's
God.
standard.
Who is this guy?
Has he ever played before?
Does he just sweep up
let's-
the studio?
Let's give him a second chance. Name another player.
With Ibrahimovic coming in at 11.5 million.
What about Ronaldo? How much was he?
Ronaldo's not in it.
All right.
Oh,
Are you sure?
Thank
Are
you.
you sure about that Middlesbrough player?
So I did spend a lot of money big on the strike force. Came to my defence and had hardly any money left to buy any decent defenders, would I say. Tried to get Koscielny in there with 6 million. And then struggled. Cheers, Mills.
Okay.
Yeah, I might listen to this just before I go to bed.
I mean, it's good to be back. I mean, we are live in the studio as well.
Cliff's been sacrificed here. I feel
It's-
sorry
Yeah,
for him.
Let's go easy on him, otherwise he might never come back. I'll back him up though. To be fair, I've been on and I've had a good look at the teams and the players today. They're expensive, and I think, we've always talked in the past that Aguero. Well, most of the time we've talked about Aguero being a player that you've got to put in. This year, I actually think if you put Aguero, and this is a reaction. This isn't. I haven't done any deep statistical analysis on this or anything. But I think if you put Aguero in, you might be struggling in the rest of your team
I
because
think you're lying.
players like Payet, 9.5 million.
Don't know what your problem is.
9.5 million. Players like De Bruyne, I think 10.5. They're very expensive. Hazard is probably one of the best. 11.5, is it? Hazard probably one of the most affordable in at around 10 million.
It's always been the case. I don't know what you're blarting about. It's always the case. There's always those players that are expensive. It's all about filling in the gaps. What's your problem, Mills?
I just think. Well, I actually
we
think
didn't
he's
even
going
know Payet was any good last season, so that's why he was about 7 million when it was all kicking off. So he had to go up in price. I think you've been naive all off season. What have you guys been doing?
So what have you been doing, Quigliano? What has the God Complex been doing?
I've been working alongside Fantasy.Premier League, helping them with their price guides. So I've been fully aware. I've actually been briefed on this. I was with the website designers, helped create some of those things. I mean, they signed off on it all. I wasn't 100% happy with it, but yeah, I'm ready to go, refreshed and recharged.
Yeah, I'm going to encourage people to start watching some of these pre-season games, or at least get the reports, because I watched some news on Sky Sports recently with Man United played in a pre-season friendly, and I tell you what, Mkhitaryan, he was absolutely world class. He demolished
You watched that game, did
the
you?
opposition. Watch the highlights of it, yeah. But he demolished that game. What I'm going to encourage the fans, if you just let me finish, I'm going to encourage the fans, get yourself watching early doors. You might find players who are going to be just slightly cheaper than the real big players, but they might do just as well.
A bit like Jordan Ibe last season at Liverpool when he
Which-
played all pre-season and scoring goals, and everyone's like, right, think
And
we
to
might,
add to that,
might be
the-
able to just put him in our team, and then he only to not feature.
Well, that is the experience required. You've got to be able to see who's going to be starting, who managers are rating. That's an eye, and you've got it, and I've got it.
And
Cliff?
to add to that, Liverpool started, was it a 16-year-old scored
Mm.
in the last pre-season friendly
Mm.
against
Oh,
Wigan?
put him in then. Put him in.
Would we put him in?
Get
Yeah.
two of them.
Well, you've got to balance it out, and you've got to find players that you think are going to start, and at the same time players that are playing well and are in form. You know, I think a lot of people, they go into it assuming that someone's going to do well. Well, actually, they might have had a really poor pre-season. They might start poorly.
Some of them might not even be playing first game of the season.
Well said.
Ozil.
Yeah,
All your Euro
Very well
players.
said.
But yeah, players like Giroud, it looks like, you know, and also Copa America players as well. They're going to be struggling for the start of the season. So we'll come on to that a little bit
You're
later
welcome.
on.
Tip already.
We're gonna move on. I think just for anyone who's never listened to this podcast before, which is a minority of people really, because it is
Worldwide,
it
yeah.
is-
Most people.
and it does-
Maybe if you're a Martian from outer space.
and it is played in 5 continents throughout the world. So
Are they listening on
um,
the space station?
there may well be. I don't know. I've not come across that. Perhaps. Who knows? I'm sure they
Fire
have
out a
Wi-Fi.
tweet, mate, get
We'll
that
get a
sorted.
tweet going. We tend to go for game week tips, don't we? But look, it's far too early for game week tips for game week 1. There's going to be so much going on between now and the start of the season. We're 4 weeks away, so we're going to kind of give a few sort of general bits of advice based on, I think, like Quigliano said there, the experience that we kind of, people pick up as you go from season to season, and try and help people not to make those mistakes. So we're gonna come on to that after this short break.
You are listening to Mills and Quigliano on the FantasyFootballTips.co podcast. Sponsored by Premier Punt. All your fantasy Premier League tips in one juicy little podcast. Get in touch at www.fantasyfootballtips.co.
So it's gents, it's great to be back, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this season. How pre-season, how soon should you be going in and making that first team choice? I've already made mine. The game's been live just literally hours, and I've already had 2 teams.
How much off season have you had? Have you made enough time for your loved ones and family, because they're obviously going to be neglected? So maybe hold off for another couple of weeks, give them some of your attention, and then obviously get a solicitor, get the divorce papers sorted, move back into your parents' spare room and just concentrate on FPL. That's what needs to happen if you want to be successful. Calamity Cliff, thoughts?
Is that what you've done? for the last 2
Calamity
seasons?
Cliff, I love it. Already he's got a nickname.
You did also have a little joke there, but we ignored that. Do you want to repeat that one?
Is that what Quigliano's done for the last 2 seasons?
Oh, there's a mom joke in there about yours, but I'm more professional than that, so I'm not
Okay.
going to go there, but I could have said something about moving in there, but no, obviously let's move on.
No.
I'm going to talk about tips and things like that. And it's a very early prediction here, but I think there's already a few teams that we can see who are shaping up to do quite well next season. I mean, Man United, Jose Mourinho, they've already signed exceptionally good players, 1 or 2. I think that the top 3 or 4 is going to be slightly different. I think you're going to see United in there. I think you're going to see Chelsea back in there with a new manager, and they've already made a good signing in Kante. I think you've got to start looking at some players from those teams. And again, of course, Manchester City, new manager, Pep Guardiola. I think
Guardiola!
Wow. Guardiola. I apologise to all the fans. That's shocking.
From
Sorry.
the voice as well.
Apologies, yeah, very, very bad. Those 3 teams for me are the top 3, so I'm going to encourage people, start looking at those teams for your players.
Captain Obvious is back, is he? He's taken a break. Well done,
I
mate.
mean, just touching on the Kante signing.
Yeah.
Is that going to bring out the best in some of the other players at Chelsea? Like your Fabregases, who didn't have such a good season last season. I mean, Willian was excellent last season. Is that going to give them more licence to kind of...
Absolutely, yes. I mean, Chelsea, when they've been at their best, was when they had Essien playing, and when he was good. He was a star holding midfielder. When Matic was playing well, they looked very, very good. If they've got a strong, probably, I think, the best centre defensive midfielder in the world at the moment in Kante, then I think it gives licence to those other players to bomb on. I think Chelsea are going to be top 3. my predictions on team positions have been very, very good in the past, aka Leicester.
What are the top three? Because
Manchester United, Chelsea, not in order, Manchester United, Chelsea and Man City.
Arsenal are out of that one, are they?
Arsenal are out. Top 4 at best, 4th. At
Liverpool and Spurs.
best. 5th, 6th,
Leicester.
9th, 10th at best.
Wolves?
Wrong league.
But where are they going to finish? Just because you're good at this.
9th,
Celtic?
top. Keep going.
Barcelona?
Top.
Zenit St Petersburg?
2nd.
You've lost it, mate. No, you've lost it.
Well, we'll find out at the end of the season, won't we?
Cliff, I mean, what are your thoughts pre-season? I know you said you had a look already at your team. How do you approach a pre-season?
I think the pre-season is important, but I think, like the lads have already mentioned, a lot of the star players in the FPL are not going to be starting the start of the season. I mean, like the players that have played in the finals, semi-finals of the Euros are not going to be fit or ready to start start the actual football Premier League season. So I think.
Go on, carry on.
Sorry, but I've looked at one player that stands out is Luke Shaw for me. 5.5 million defender playing under Jose Mourinho. I think he's the first defender that I will be putting into my fantasy football team.
Okay, that's a bold shout considering the length of time he's had off. Again, coming back to what JP was saying about pre-season friendly match reports, heard that he's made a good start back.
Yeah.
But you fancy Luke Shaw?
I do fancy Luke Shaw. I think he was under.
There's one for the remixers over there. So send them in. Support at fantasyfootballtips.co.
Grow up. That's cool.
I do like Luke Shaw in the team because
Would
I think
you like
he was
to
on.
go to the school disco with it?
No, thank you. Quickly.
Are you sure?
So Quigliano, you know you're all over that, but the how about some actual tips? Have you come armed with anything this week?
I'm just going to keep them all up my sleeve this season. That's the plan.
Oh right, so you've come just to ridicule everyone else. That's why you've returned.
Wijnaldum, tipping him already. He's off to Spurs, isn't he?
Liverpool, I'm
Spurs
hearing.
or Liverpool, yeah. So I was mocked last season for a few of these tips, and yet there he was, 4 goals against Norwich.
I mean, if he does go to Liverpool, I was going to bring up Liverpool actually and ask for people's thoughts on this.
Great city.
The amount of midfielders they have got is unreal. Is it possible to have a Liverpool midfielder?
Muzzy, is it possible? Just a throwback there. I think it's tough. There's certain players that are going to play. Coutinho. Is Firmino still down?
Firmino 8.5.
Down as a midfielder.
Mane 9.
I mean, Mane, yeah, actually, that's a shout. I do like a bit of Mane.
Lallana 7.
You make a very good point there, Millsy, though. You know, there's so many in there. Who is going to start that first game? It's a tough call.
£30 million for Mane. He's going to be playing.
Start, isn't he?
Coutinho's their star player. He's going to be playing. Those are you two Garys. They won't be dropped. They're game time secure.
So they're the ones to go for, if anyone. Okay, I like that, Quigliano. And did you have any other particular tips for us, Cliff? You know, coming in today, I can see you've got your paper there, well prepared.
The one thing I did notice, Martial is now down as a midfielder.
Yeah,
which
like that.
Could be
That's
big
good research. That's
yeah,
good
he's down
research.
as a midfielder. He will be probably most likely playing on the left wing still.
Mm.
And Rooney, 9 million. Jose Mourinho said he will be playing up
Down as
front.
midfielder?
He's down as a forward, but Jose said that he will be playing him up front.
Surely not. Oh, he's not going to play 2 though, is he? He's not going to play
We're
Ibra.
play him as an attacking kind of midfielder. It's like, you know what I mean?
See, I'm hearing that Mkhitaryan and Rooney are going to occupy the same position, and it will be a rotation policy. And I think me and JP discussed this the other day, and JP, you were straight away. It's got to be Mkhitaryan.
It's
hasn't
got to be, yeah. But I do like the research. I think it's really good research. But at the same time, I think... Sorry, apologies, I'm a bit far away. I think of the two, I think I'd go Mkhitaryan of the 2 players. I just think he's more likely to start. But that's just...
Is Rooney still club captain at Man United? Does anyone know?
Good question. Very good question.
We'll ring him later and find out.
I really do like that research you've done with the midfield situation, Martial, though, Cliff. I think that's good research.
So
I like how you
I
wrote
think
that with your weaker
JP's feeling a
hand.
little bit guilty about the attack on Cliff at the start of this podcast.
Well,
I
he
think.
was like a fish out of water, wasn't he? Bless him. He was flapping all over the place. So, yeah.
Okay, gents. I mean, it's.
A new runt of the litter.
I mean, what is the pecking order now? What is the pecking? I mean, what was the pecking order in the first place?
You all know. I think it's best for team morale.
The fans all put it out there on Twitter, I'm sure. I mean, this isn't necessarily going to be how it's going to work every week. By the way, let's just make this clear to the fans now. We're probably not. I mean, we're all live in the same studio for a start, which is amazing to get us all in the same room, especially the egos that are in this room.
Sturridge Gate has had a lot to answer for.
It certainly has.
Reshuffled the pack slightly.
Well, maybe you say that. There was a lot of support from me, I will say, last season. But I don't think we should
open
open
firing out the tweets and giving your version. Quigliano wasn't here to give the full details. I wouldn't be so vulgar as to put it out on the air like you did, but that's fine, mate.
We'll you know,
whatever helps.
Wouldn't
you
want
sleep
to
at
reopen, bad wounds, would I? So, I mean, you've made me completely forget what I was talking about. So we're not gonna have probably the four of us all on the same podcast. It's a little bit.
Can I know when Cliff's on, please, so I can avoid that one.
So it'll probably be 2 or 3 of us each week, and there might also be opportunity for some fans to come on via Skype at some point this season. Last season's winner has kind of half promised me to come on and do an interview as well. So I'm doing last season's winner of the entire world.
Wow, I would enjoy that.
Yeah, so lots of things to look forward to. Now, of course, we have Podcast Extra as well. So any premium members out there are able to stay tuned in for the Podcast Extra at the end, and that will be coming up later. If you're not a member at the moment, do go in and use the promo code pre-season, and you can get a year's worth of membership for £9.99.
I mean, you're basically giving it away.
Basically, yeah.
Pretty much.
It's less than £1 a month.
It's a no-brainer.
I mean, if we're not worth less than £1 a month, what are we worth?
More.
Exactly. So you're crazy if you don't.
You're listening to Mills, Quigliano and The Voice on the Fantasy Football Tips podcast.
Right, gents. I think there's only so much we can talk about today because it has literally just launched, and we all need to go away and dissect this, don't we?
Charge your batteries.
But we are going to go in and do a little podcast extra for the premium members. But before that, Cliff, your thoughts on first podcast back? How's it been for you? Do you feel you've lived up to expectation?
It was a very nervous start for myself. I think the egos in this room are massive, a lot bigger than I've ever heard before on a podcast. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good to listen to the advice from the great Quigliano, JP and Mills.
And will you be back?
I will be back.
After some
steady
counselling, I imagine.
Well done, you.
Shaking in the corner. Is someone going to clean that mess up over there?
Quigliano, thoughts on initial thoughts going into the new season?
I think you've missed me. I just think that there's been a real lull in the podcast.
Well, that's JP. I'll come back to you for that then, because I think we had lots of special podcasts together.
Very special.
We had. I think both of you are correct. I think we had some fantastic podcasts. I think the fans did enjoy them. Thought they were fantastic. But at the same time, I do think we miss Quigliano. Quigliano's an experienced manager. He's got a very
successful.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got an experience, and he's a pleasure to listen to at times. So absolutely, it's a pleasure, Quigliano. It's a pleasure to have you back. And Cliff, welcome to the group. I know you've taken a bit of abuse today, but I'm very, very excited to have you on part of the team. So
it's a handshake.
Thank you, JP.
And as the host of the show, I never get the thanks.
Cares,
so it kind of goes without saying that I am the linchpin of the entire operation. So that no one even needs to mention that. So,
no.
But I will. Right, we are gonna sign off there for the standard podcast. We are going to do a very, very short podcast extra, which is going to be we're just going to very quickly go over the game week fixtures for game week 1. Guys, if you're not in podcast extra, you're missing out. If you are, brilliant. We'll see you there. Either way, we'll see you probably a week before the start of the new season for the some game week 1 tips.
Locked and loaded.
Warning. 3, 2, 1. The FantasyFootballTips.co podcast with Mills and Quigliano.